Section 1, Introduction. This section covers commercial motor vehicles, commercial driver's license, and commercial learner permit classes, endorsements and restrictions, commercial driver's license and commercial learner permit requirements, commercial driver license tests, additional requirements for bus drivers, driver disqualifications, other commercial privilege rules, international registration plan, and international fuel tax agreement. All right, 1.1, commercial motor vehicles. You must have a commercial driver's license or commercial learner permit to operate any of the following commercial motor vehicles. Any single vehicle with a gross vehicle weight rating of 26,001 pounds or more. A trailer with a gross vehicle weight rating of more than 10,000 pounds if the gross combination weight rating is 26,001 pounds or more. GCWR is the GVWR, so the gross combination weight rating is the gross vehicle weight rating of the power unit plus the gross vehicle weight rating of each vehicle in combination. A vehicle designed to transport 15 or more passengers, excluding the driver, or a vehicle defined as a bus under Article 19A, Section 509A of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law. Any size vehicle that requires hazardous materials placards or is carrying material listed as a select agent or toxin in 42 CFR Part 73. Federal regulations through the Department of Homeland Security require a background check and fingerprinting for the hazardous materials endorsement. So these are what you need the commercial driver's license for. Exemptions. Drivers of the following vehicles that otherwise meet the definition of a commercial motor vehicle are exempt from the CDL requirement. A vehicle owned and controlled by a farmer that has a gross vehicle weight rating of more than 26,000 pounds and is used to transport agricultural products, farm machinery, or farm products within 150 miles of the farm. A vehicle primarily designed for purposes other than the transportation of persons or property, commonly referred to as special purpose commercial, with a gross vehicle weight rating of 26,000 pounds or less, or if the gross vehicle weight rating is more than 26,000 pounds, not able to be operated at normal highway speeds. Fire and police vehicles engaged in emergency operations in New York State. Military vehicles or combination of vehicles operated by members of the armed forces. Personal vehicles, including rental vehicles up to 26,000 pounds gross vehicle weight rating when operated strictly and exclusively to transport personal possessions or family members for non-commercial purposes. Chapter 1, Section 2. Commercial driver license and commercial learner permit classes, endorsements, and restrictions. Commercial driver's license and commercial learner's permit classes, endorsements, and restrictions are based on the type of commercial motor vehicle driven. The type of commercial motor vehicle is determined by the vehicle manufacturer's gross vehicle weight rating for single vehicles and gross combination weight rating for combination vehicles, construction, or use. Under the New York State VTL, CMV commercial motor vehicle weight classifications are based on the greater of the following weights: manufacturer's gross vehicle weight rating or gross combination weight rating, registration weight, or actual weight of the vehicle and load. Commercial learner permit and commercial driver's license classes, endorsements and restrictions, therefore, correspond to vehicle weight, construction or use, as shown in Figure 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3 on page 1-2. Introduction. New York State CDL class descriptions. License class and minimum age. Class A, minimum age 21. Combinations such as tractor trailer or truck trailer. Gross combination weight rating of more than 26,000 pounds provided the gross vehicle weight rating or gross combination weight rating of vehicles being towed is more than 10,000 pounds. Endorsement codes, HM and PSTWX. Commercial Learner's Permit limited to MNPSW. License Class B. 18. No interstate commerce, cannot transport hazardous materials or operate a school bus. So these are limitations if you're 18 years old. The vehicle type is single, such as heavy single unit truck or bus, as opposed to license class A, which would have tractor trailer or truck trailer. Vehicle description. Gross vehicle weight rating of more than 26,000 pounds. That's in common to both of them. Class B may tow vehicles with a gross vehicle weight rating of 10,000 pounds or less, or may tow a vehicle of more than 10,000 pounds if the gross combined weight rating is not more than 26,000 pounds. The endorsement codes HMNPSWX, I see T is missing. Commercial Learner's Permit limited to MNPSW. It's the same for both. License Class C should be at least 21. If you're 18, no interstate commerce, cannot transport hazardous materials or operate a school bus. The vehicle type is single, such as a single unit truck or bus. Vehicle descriptions. Gross vehicle weight rating of 26,000 pounds or less that transports 15 or more passengers or transports passengers under Article 19A of the V&T law or carries hazardous materials. Class C may tow vehicles with a gross vehicle weight rating of 10,000 pounds or less, or may tow a vehicle of more than 10,000 pounds, providing the gross combination weight rating is not more than 26,000 pounds. The endorsement codes are HM and PSWX, which is the same for the license Class B. Now, what the endorsements codes mean: F is for Farm Class A vehicles, G for Farm Class B vehicles, H for hazardous materials, M for metal coil, N for tank vehicles, P for passenger transport, R for recreational vehicles, gross vehicle weight rating over 26,000 pounds, S is a school bus, T is for doubles and triples, W is for a tow truck, X is for tank hazmat, and Z is for farm hazmat. New York State restrictions. License restrictions explain your driving limitations. License restriction codes are printed on the front of your license on the line under the expiration date, and E, endorsement field, after the letter R. A description of any restrictions you have is printed on the back of your photo license document. A, Excel left or of brake. A1, temporary visitor. A2, problem driver. A3, med cert exempt. A4, ignition interlock device. B, corrective lenses. C, mechanical aid. D, prosthetic device. E, no manual transmission equipped, CMV. What is that, combined motor vehicle? Automatic transmission, outside mirrors, hearing aid or full view mirror, daylight driving only, limited to employment, limited use auto max 40 miles per hour, limited use MCY max 40 miles per hour, limited use MCY max 30 miles per hour, limited use MCY max 20 miles per hour, three-wheel MCY, so that's I1, I2, I3, I4. H is limited to employment. K, CDL intrastate only. No operation outside New York State for commerce. That's K. L, no air brake equipped commercial motor vehicle. M, no Class A passenger, VEH. N, no Class A and B passenger, VEH. And 1, no vehicle designed for 15 or more adult passengers. And 2, no vehicle designed for 8 or more adult passengers. O, no tractor-trailer CMV. O1, no tractor-trailer CMV truck not over 26,000 gross vehicle weight rating. P, no passenger in CMV bus. P1, power brakes. Q, power steering. R, built-up seat ped shoe. U, hand-operated brake. V, medical variants. V1, foot upper parking brake. X, no cargo in CMV tank vehicle. X1, full hand control. Y, shoulder harness use. Z, no full air brake equipped CMV. Z1, wheel spinner. 4, telescopic lens 4. And 5, no limited access roads. So 1 star is Class D only, 2 stars commercial class only, 3 stars commercial learner permit only, 4 stars motorcycle class only, and 5 stars the interlock device is not required in a motor vehicle owned by a licensee's employer if the vehicle is used in the course of the licensee's employment. The employer must consent to the use of the vehicle without the device. Chapter 1, Section 3. Commercial Driver's License and Commercial Learner Permit Requirements. New York State driver licensing standards comply with the federal laws related to commercial driver licenses, CDL, and commercial learner permits, CLP. To get a New York State CDL or CLP, commercial learner's permit, you must meet the following standards and requirements. Chapter 1, Section 3, subsection 1. Okay, so I'll just say 1.3.1. Legal presence requirement. U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents must provide proof of citizenship or unrestricted lawful permanent residency at the DMV office. Once you have met this requirement in a DMV office, you will not be required to prove your legal status again. Applicants from a foreign jurisdiction must provide proof of your legal presence at a DMV office for every transaction. Please refer to Form ID 44 CDL for a list of all the documents that you may submit as proof of U.S. citizenship, lawful permanent residency, or temporary legal presence. 1.3.2 Residency Requirement. You must be a resident of New York State to be issued a New York State CLP or CDL. One proof of residence is required to apply, transfer, renew, and amend your CLP CDL. Please refer to Form ID 44 CDL for a list of all the documents that you may submit as proof of New York State residency. A driver holding a CDL issued by another jurisdiction who moves to New York must apply for a New York State CDL within 30 days after establishing residency. A new resident may apply to exchange a CDL issued by another jurisdiction for a New York State CDL reciprocity. However, to keep a hazardous material endorsement, you must pay the test fee. Take and pass the hazmat written knowledge test, a score of 80% is passing, and pay for and pass a background investigation. See Section 9, Hazardous Materials. 1.3.3 Age requirement. Class A, you must be at least 21 years of age. Class B and C, you must be at least 18 years of age, but if under 21, you can drive a commercial motor vehicle only for intra-state commerce. That's within New York State. You cannot transport students in a school bus and cannot transport hazardous material. 1.3.4 The language requirement. You must be able to read and speak the English language well enough to converse with other people, understand highway traffic signs and signals in the English language, answer questions from officials, make entries on reports and records, and take skills tests as required for getting your CDL. 1.3.5 Self-certification requirement. Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration regulations require all New York State Commercial Learner Permit or CDL holders to certify with the Department of Motor Vehicles to the type of commercial operation they perform or expect to perform. All CLP or CDL holders must certify to one of the four categories listed in Figure 1-4, self-certification driving types, prior to the issuance, amendment, or renewal of a commercial learner's permit or CDL. In addition, depending upon which driving type you self-certify to, you may have certain medical requirements that apply to you. An explanation of medical requirements can be found in Section 1.3.6. Non-accepted interstate. That's NI for an abbreviation. So interstate, that's between states. Must be 21 or over, must not have a K or A3 restriction. CDL holders with a medical variance must have the V restriction. CDL holders with a H or X endorsement may select this driving type. Current U.S. DOT medical examiner certificate required. Accepted interstate, that's EI, that's between states, must be age 18 or over, must engage only in accepted operation, must have an A3 restriction, must not have a K or V restriction, must not have H or X endorsement, medical examiner's certificate not required. See Section 1.3.6 for accepted driving types. Okay, non-accepted intrastate, that's NA. Non-accepted intrastate. Must be age 18 or over, must have a K restriction, must not have an A3 restriction. CDL holders with a medical variance must have the V restriction. CDL holders age 21 or over with an H or X endorsement may select this driving type. Current U.S. DOT medical examiner certificate required. Accepted intrastate, EA, must be age 18 or over, must engage only in accepted operation, must have the K and A3 restrictions, must not have V restriction, must not have an H or X endorsement, medical examiner certificate not required. See Section 1.3.6 for accepted driving types. Self-certification driving types. Interstate commerce is when you drive a CMV, commercial motor vehicle, from one state to another or a foreign country. Between two places within New York State, but during part of the trip, the commercial motor vehicle crosses into another state or foreign country, or between two places within New York State, but the cargo is part of a trip that began or will end in another state or foreign country. That's interstate commerce. Intrastate commerce is when you drive a commercial motor vehicle only within New York State, and you do not meet any of the descriptions above for interstate commerce. Let's see. Let me read interstate again. From one state to another or foreign country, between two places within New York State, but during part of the trip, the commercial motor motor vehicle crosses into another state or foreign country, or between two places within New York State, but the cargo is part of a trip that began or will end in another state or foreign country. Okay, 1.3.6, medical examination requirement. If you self-certify to a non-accepted NA or NI driving type, the federal government requires you to have a medical examination in order to detect physical or mental conditions that may affect your ability to operate a motor vehicle safely. The examination requirements are found in the U.S. Department of Transportation's Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration regulations under 49 CFR Part 391. The U.S. DOT medical exam covers 13 areas that directly relate to the ability to drive safely. You must pass the U.S. DOT medical examination and receive a U.S. DOT medical examiner's certificate. When completing an MV-44 application to apply for, amend, or renew a New York State Commercial Learner's Permit or CDL, if you certify that you have a current valid medical examiner's certificate, you must provide a copy of your certificate to the Department of Motor Vehicles in order to prove you meet this standard if one is not already on file. If your medical examiner's certificate indicates that it must be accompanied by a waiver, exemption, or skills performance evaluation certificate, a valid FMCSA variance of the same type indicated on your medical certificate must be on file with the DMV. DMV will not accept copies of medical variance documents from commercial drivers. Your CLP or CDL will not be issued, renewed, or amended if you do not present or have on file valid medical documentation. Note, the physical examination conducted just for bus drivers who are subject to Article 19A of the New York State Vehicle and Traffic Law does not meet the requirements of Part 391 of the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations unless the federal medical standards, procedures, and forms were used and you received a medical examiner's certificate. All right, what is a medical examiner's certificate? The United States Department of Transportation Medical Examiner's Certificate is attached to the medical examination report, which is completed by a certified medical examiner from the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration's FMCSA National Registry of Certified Medical Examiners. All medical examiners' certificates issued on or after May 21, 2014 must be issued by a certified medical examiner and must contain the medical examiner's national registry number. If you pass the exam, the medical examiner should complete the certificate and give it to you to show that you passed. You must present a copy of your certificate to the DMV, where it will be kept on file until it expires. Prior to the expiration date of your certificate on file, you must provide an updated medical examiner's certificate to the DMV. Medical examiner's certificates will only be accepted at your local DMV when submitting an application for an original, amended, or renewal of a New York State CDL. If you are not conducting one of those transactions, you must mail or send your certificate to the Medical Certification Unit of the DMV. New York State Department of Motor Vehicles Medical Certification Unit, P.O. Box 2601, Albany, New York 12220-0601. Phone number 518-474-3603. Fax 518-486-4421 or 486-3260. Email dmv.sm/cdlmedcertunit@dmv.newyork.gov. How long is the medical examiner's certificate valid? A U.S. DOT medical exam is normally valid for 24 months. However, your medical examiner may give you a medical examiner's certificate that expires in less than 24 months in order to monitor a condition such as high blood pressure, which the examiner wants to check more often than every 2 years. Who may perform the medical exam? As of May 21, 2014, only doctors listed on the FMCSA National Registry of Certified Medical Examiners may perform a U.S. DOT medical exam. All U.S. DOT medical examiner certificates issued on or after May 21, 2014 must be issued from a certified medical examiner and must contain the medical examiner's national registry number. Okay, we're on page 6. I may stop on page 7 and break this video into 2 parts. All right, how do I find a licensed medical examiner? To find a certified doctor in your area, please visit the federal website at http://nationalregistry.fmcsa.gov/home.seam. Important reminder, it is the responsibility of the CLP or CDL holder to submit updated copies of any required medical documentation, medical examiner's certificate, and any applicable medical variants to the DMV prior to the expiration date of the medical documentation on file. Failure to maintain current medical documentation with DMV will result in the loss of your commercial driving privilege. Medical examination exception. A medical exam or a U.S. DOT medical examiner certificate is not required if you self-certify to an accepted EA or EI driving type. An accepted driving type, EA or EI, applies to the following types of commercial operation. To transport school children and our school staff between home and school. As federal, state, or local government employees, to transport human corpses or sick or injured persons, fire truck or rescue vehicles during emergencies and other related activities, primarily in the transportation or propane winter heating fuel when responding to an emergency condition requiring immediate response such as damage to a propane gas system after a storm or flooding. In response to a pipeline emergency condition requiring immediate response such as a pipeline leak or rupture. In custom harvesting on a farm or to transport farm machinery and supplies used in the custom harvesting operation to and from a farm or to transport custom harvested crops to a storage or market. Accepted driving applies to the following types of commercial operation. EA or EI. Beekeeper in the seasonal transportation of bees, controlled and operated by a farmer, but is not a combination vehicle, power unit and towed unit, and is used to transport agricultural products, farm machinery, or farm supplies. No placardable hazardous materials, to and from a farm and within 150 air miles of the farm. As a private motor carrier of passengers for non-business purposes. To transport migrant workers must be age 21 or older. Drivers who obtain their New York State CDL prior to September 9, 1999 are permitted to perform non-accepted commercial operation except when transporting hazardous materials in New York State only. These drivers must certify to EA. 1.3.8 Application and written testing requirements. To get a Class A, B, or C CDL for the first time, to upgrade to a higher class CDL, or to add a P or S endorsement to a CDL, you must first obtain a commercial learner permit for the proper class and type of vehicle you plan to drive. To obtain the learner permit, you must already have a New York State driver license that is not suspended, revoked, or canceled. You must apply in person at a New York State motor vehicle office. The star is probably on the other page. Appointments are not needed. However, you should contact the office if you have any special needs. Allow 3 hours to complete all of the processing, including test taking. Plan to arrive no later than 3 hours before the office's scheduled closing time. At the motor vehicles office, you will. Now let's see what that star is. I don't know. All right, complete an application form MV-44 in which you must provide proof of your legal presence in the U.S. See Form ID 44 CDL. Provide proof of your New York State residence. See Form ID 44 CDL. List all the states, including the District of Columbia, in which you were licensed to drive over the past 10 years. Certify the type of commercial operation you perform or expect to perform. Present a copy of your medical examiner's certificate if you meet the federal requirements. Show your New York State driver license. Show your Social Security card. If New York State DMV has no record of your Social Security number, and you are asked to show your card. Pay the fees that cover the application, processing the photo document, and testing. Pass the general, let me see. So show your driver's license, show your Social Security card. Pay the fees that cover the application. Pass the general knowledge test and any necessary endorsement tests by answering at least 80% of the questions correctly. See Section 1.4. You are not allowed to bring anything into the testing room or area except a pencil, and you must present your driver's license again before you can take the test. Reminder, cell phones are not permitted in any test area at any time. Federally mandated restrictions on CLPS. Let's see. I guess that's commercial learner permits issued with a passenger or school bus endorsement will automatically get a new federally mandated no passengers in DMV bus P restriction. CLPs issued with a tank vehicle and endorsement will automatically get a federally mandated no cargo in CMV tank vehicles X restriction. The P and X restrictions are issued in the CLP only. The CDL that is issued after all required tests have been passed will not have the P or X restrictions. Locations and hours of New York State Motor Vehicles offices may be found in your local telephone directory at the New York State DMV website at www.dmv.newyork.gov/offices.htm or by calling New York State Department of Motor Vehicles weekdays, except state holidays, between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Time at 1-212-645-5550 or 1-718-966-6155. That's Manhattan and Brooklyn, New York. If calling from the New York City metropolitan area, from area codes 212-347-646-718-917 or 929. 1-718-477-4820 if calling from area codes 516-631-845 or 914. 1-518-486-9786 if calling from all other area codes in New York State. 1-518-473-5595 if calling from locations outside of New York State. 1.3.9 Driving with your commercial learner permit. Your commercial driver learner permit allows you to drive a vehicle of the class and type that matches the class and any endorsements of your permit, as long as your CLP is accompanied by an underlying New York State license. A driver holding a CDL of the same or higher class with the proper endorsements accompanies you at all times. Your permit and the supervising driver's CDL do not have any restrictions that would prohibit driving in the practice vehicle, and you are not transporting any material that requires hazardous material, placards, or any quantity of material listed as a selected agent or toxin in 42 CFR 73, even when the supervising driver's CDL has a hazmat endorsement or you yourself hold a lower class of CDL with a hazmat endorsement. 1.3.10 Skills Testing Requirements. To get your CDL, you must pass the skills test in a representative vehicle, one that matches the class type and use of the CDL you need. Study sections 11, 12, and 13 in this manual for details about the CDL skills test, and practice driving with your learner permit as much as possible until you are confident that you could pass the test. You may schedule your skills test either online at www.dmv.newyork.gov or by telephone at 1-518-402-2100. You must wait a minimum of 14 days from the date you obtain your commercial learner's permit before you may take the skills test. It normally takes several weeks from the date that you make your appointment to the date of the test, so schedule your test early. You may also cancel a scheduled skills test online or by telephone, but you must cancel your appointment no less than 3 full business days prior to your scheduled road test date and time. If you cancel later than that, you will lose the skills test fee and must pay the skills test fee again before rescheduling. Additional information for scheduling a skills test can be found on the DMV website mentioned above. All right, we're on page 8 of 14. I'm going to stop here and make this a 2-part video. Thank you. Lord willing.